This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 4th day of August in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Guyana recorded 23 new cases of coronavirus and one more death in the past 24 hours. A 79-year-old man from Beirut on the east coast of the Marara died in the intensive care unit of the Georgetown Hospital, becoming the 22nd COVID-19 related death. The 23 new cases are from 3 interior regions. Region 9 has recorded 11 more cases, taking its total number of cases to more than 90. That's active cases. Region 7 has recorded 11 new cases, taking its total to more than 90 also. And the remaining 4 cases were recorded in Region 8. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shamdir Prasad today said the picture for Guyana right now, with those rising numbers, is not bright at all.
I know that you have been following closely these daily briefs and that you are aware that our cases continue to climb, especially in the hotspot areas of Regions 7 and 9. You would have heard that in the space of 96 hours, that's 4 days, we have reported 96 new cases, which is not a very bright picture. However, I wish to remind you that the coronavirus is not selective or exclusive. It's all around us, in and out of our country, Brazil, Venezuela, and Suriname. So everyone, everywhere, in all the 10 administrative regions, need to make this special effort to continue to play a part in spreading the message about COVID-19.
And Dr. Prasad also said too many persons are still taking the virus for granted and continue to ignore the guidelines.
Misconceptions about COVID-19 persist, including that the disease doesn't exist, that wearing a mask causes the disease, even testing brings about the disease. We need to dispel these myths if we are going to break the back of the camel, not only in regions 7 and 9, but in every community. This is the only way that we can support the selfless efforts of the health workers on the front line who are risking their lives to prevent the further transmission of the raging coronavirus disease.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Public Health is pushing to have more testing completed and has issued a new call for persons with symptoms to make themselves available for testing. Guyana now has 289 active COVID-19 cases. More news coming up in a moment.
Tired of long lines? Register with MyGTT at mygtt.co.gy. That's mygtt.co.gy to view and pay your bills from anywhere. Enter to win an Amazon gift card worth $25 or a bounty voucher worth 5,000 Guyana dollars when you sign up today. GTT, do more.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
The following is an important message from the Ministry of Public Health. You can prevent the spread of the COVID-19 virus. If you have the following symptoms: coughing, fever, or difficulty breathing, please stay home. If you don't have these symptoms, then practice social distancing. Avoid crowds. When in a group, keep a distance of at least 3 feet between yourself and other persons. Please wash your hands with soap regularly or use hand sanitizers. The Ministry of Public Health has a hotline to provide information on the coronavirus. Members of the public can call 227-4986 or 624-3067.
On the Guyana-Venezuela border issue, the government of Venezuela has restated its position that it will not be taking part in the hearing, since it does not recognize the International Court of Justice as having any jurisdiction to hear the matter. In a statement over the weekend, Venezuela instead offered an invitation to Guyana to restart negotiations with the purpose of reaching an amicable and acceptable arrangement. The Venezuelan position is not new, and in the past it has stated that it believes that the two countries meeting could agree to restart the UN Good Offices process. But since taking the case to the ICJ, Guyana has said that the UN Good Offices process has been exhausted. Guyana is seeking to obtain a final and binding judgment from the court that the 1899 arbitral award, which established the location of the land boundary between then British Guyana and Venezuela, remains valid and binding, and that Guyana's Essequibo region belongs to Guyana and not Venezuela. In a letter to the court, Venezuela has claimed that the Secretary General of the United Nations has exceeded his authority under the Geneva Agreement, and that the court therefore lacks jurisdiction to adjudicate Guyana's lawsuit. The court is expected to proceed to decide if it has jurisdiction over Guyana's claims, irrespective of whether or not Venezuela participates. And let's tell you now that a young doctor working on the front lines in the fight against COVID-19 in the Region 9 area is among the new cases of coronavirus in that region. In a post on his Facebook page, Dr. Narash Torres revealed that despite taking all the precautions, he has tested positive for the disease. Torres explained that he has been part of the Lethem Hospital's COVID-19 task force since the pandemic was first reported in Guyana back in March. He said he did several outreaches in the northern and southern subdistricts of Region 9, which included the implementation of precautionary measures, screening and swabbing. He said they worked on the conditions that no one will ever understand. The young doctor was tested positive for the disease after displaying mild symptoms. His positive test result came in on Sunday. Since then, Dr. Torres has been removed from the front line and is now in isolation being treated. With his positive result, Dr. Torres said he is now worried about other health workers on the front line in the Rupununi region, as he is the second doctor in the region to be diagnosed with COVID-19. There was another doctor who was in isolation for 2 months in Kamaka, and there was no mention of her case and situation, Dr. Torres said. As of Sunday, there were over 80 active cases of coronavirus in Region 9. The region shares the border with Brazil, which has the second highest number of COVID-19 cases in the world. Health officials have been expressing concern about the growing number of illegal border movements between villages in Region 9 and Brazil. There have also been complaints about many residents in the region ignoring the health guidelines. Dr. Torres in his Facebook statement said he wants adolescents and young adults to realize that COVID-19 is real and it is also unprecedented. Well, days after pleading guilty to the lesser count of manslaughter for the shooting death of his reputed wife, former GDF Captain Erwin Sandy was today sentenced to life in prison for the crime. The sentence was handed down this morning by Justice Sandal Kisun, moments after the disgraced military officer pleaded for leniency. Following his emotional plea to the court for leniency, the state prosecutor reminded the judge that Sandy shot his wife, Riona Payne, 14 times to her body, including once to the head. Prosecutor Lisa Cave told the judge that the sentence ought to match the callousness and seriousness of the crime against the 31-year-old woman. Justice Kisun agreed and handed down the maximum sentence for the manslaughter charge. The judge said the ex-GDF captain, as a military officer who was also the special assistant to the chief of staff, should have known better and should have had better control. Sandy was charged back in April 2018 for the murder, which took place along a street in Alexander Village during an argument with his reputed wife. The man pulled out his gun and fired repeatedly into the woman's body, ending with a shot to her head. He casually hopped into his car and drove to a nearby police station, where he informed the police officers there of his crime and surrendered the gun while turning himself in. The young officer was initially charged for murder and committed to stand trial for murder. However, when the matter was called up for trial last week, his attorneys indicated to the court that he has decided to enter a guilty plea to the lesser count of manslaughter. While he may have avoided the death sentence with that plea, he may not have expected a life sentence. The gunning down of the woman brought a tragic end to the couple's rocky relationship. Payne had complained to friends about her husband's violent streak and his growing abuse towards her. Riona Payne was a well-known travel agent who had been previously married. The two are involved in their relationship for just over 5 years. A 25-year-old East Ruimveldt man who was fingered in a murder outside a Mandela Avenue bar 4 years ago was shot dead execution style on Monday evening on Durban Street. Dead is 25-year-old Rondell Haynes, also known as 3D. He was in the company of friends outside a building at Durban and Chapel Streets when he was targeted and shot multiple times to the body. His friends ran for cover as the gunshots rang out. Eyewitnesses said it was clear that he was the target of the execution. There are no details on the gunman who carried out the hit. Paramedics were called to the scene but pronounced the man dead as persons in the area flocked the scene. The incident occurred just before 8 p.m. last night. Back in 2016, Haynes was named as a person of interest in the gunning down of Charlestown youth Gregory Garraway outside a bar on Mandela Avenue. Garraway was the victim of a robbery when he put up a fight and was shot dead. Although Haynes was named as a suspect, he was never charged for the murder. Police investigators have also said he was also known to law enforcement as he was suspected to be involved in various illegal activities. A probe into last night's execution is ongoing. An early morning accident at Montrose on the east coast of Demerara claimed the life of a garbage collector this morning and has left 2 other men nursing injuries. Eyewitnesses said the garbage collector was standing at the back of the parked garbage truck when a speeding canter truck slammed directly into it, crushing the garbage collector and killing him on the spot. The dead man has been identified as 45-year-old Zamir Ishfahani of Lenora. The accident occurred at around 5:21 this morning. The impact of the crash resulted in the driver and an occupant of the canter truck being pinned in their vehicle. The paramedics had to be summoned and they called in the fire service to assist in cutting the front of the canter apart to get the injured men out. The driver suffered a heart attack, according to the police. Both men remain in hospital this evening. The early morning accident comes just 1 week after another accident on the same 4-lane roadway created injuries. A police investigation is underway tonight. An early morning fire at a private school, Chase Academy in Kingston, has left the owner counting millions of dollars in losses. Fire officials were summoned to the Parade Street Kingston building at around 3 o'clock this morning after an alert security guard and neighbors noticed smoke coming out of one of the offices in the building. The security guard who was on duty said he heard no loud explosion or anything suspicious before noticing smoke coming out of the offices. He said he attempted to extinguish the fire himself, but when those efforts failed, the fire service was alerted. The quick response of the fire service resulted in the fire being contained to just the one building. The school's owner was at the scene assessing his losses as the fire service launched its investigation.
At this moment, looking at it, it should be close to $7-8 million and counting. It might be that figure just alone to fix back the building, but then we have to furnish and so on, so it might exceed that.
I know there was another schoolhouse there, a special needs school. What damage would they have had?
I don't think there is any damage. I think water seeped into their part.
Across the region is coming up next.
We give thanks for real. You spend all that money on your watch. How much time you spend with your son? So much money in the club. How much you spend with the ones you love? The simple things are your blessings.
Cheese, please. Remember Tyrus Riley, this we aim to please. The music will never ease. Cheese, please.
They've made a positive impact on the heavy-duty transportation industry in Guyana since they've arrived. Guyanese are amazed at their power, durability, efficiency, and superior handling capabilities. These are brand new trucks, manufactured in partnership with German, Italian, and French companies. They have a powerful reputation for operating under very adverse Guyanese conditions and come with full after-sales service and spare parts. They're the most sought-after trucks today, with over 500 units in Guyana, and they're available in over 100 countries, including South America and the Caribbean. Be smart. Buy brand new ST Howa trucks today. Call 608-4998 and arrange for an inspection at ST Truck Guyana Incorporated, Block B, Public Road, Covenant, East Bank, Demerara.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Are you washing your hands correctly? Here are some tips on when and how to wash your hands. Step 1. Wet your hands with clean water. Step 2. Then apply soap. Step 3. For 10 to 15 seconds, lather your palms together. Always remember to pay attention to your fingers, especially your nails and tips. And don't forget the back and between of your fingers. Step 4. Rinse hands with clean water for about 20 seconds. Step 5. Dry hands with a clean paper towel or tissue.
But when should you wash your hands? After using the toilet, before and after eating, preparing or handling uncooked food, after playing with pets or caring for animals, after sneezing and coughing or blowing your nose, before and after changing babies or caring for others.
Frequent hand washing or using a hand sanitizer with alcohol as an alternative will remove viruses and bacteria from your hands.
A message from the Ministry of Public Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Across the region right now, Trinidad and Tobago has recorded 10 new cases of coronavirus, even as the authorities insist that there is no new outbreak of the virus in the Twin Island Republic, even as new cases were being reported on a daily basis for the past 2 weeks. The Ministry of Health in Trinidad and Tobago in its daily bulletin said that 7 of the cases are contacts of recent COVID-19 patients and that the other 3 are pending investigation. As a result of the new cases in Trinidad and Tobago, the total number of positive cases of the virus there has jumped to 192, with the number of people dying as a result remaining at 8. The Trinidad and Tobago United Teachers Union has already called for the closure of all primary schools across the country. Well, Peru is letting thousands of Venezuelan health workers who fled their country to join the Peruvian health system during the coronavirus pandemic. The Peruvian president signed a decree which exempts qualified foreign doctors and nurses from having to validate their degrees. Peru has more than 430,000 cases of coronavirus, and its health service has been struggling. More than 830,000 Venezuelans have arrived in the country in recent years. In total, more than 5 million people have fled Venezuela's ongoing political and economic crisis, with many seeking a new life in Colombia, Peru, Brazil, and further afield in the US and Europe. Some of those who sought a new life in Peru say they were met with xenophobia from Peruvians, who fear that the Venezuelans are taking jobs away from them. And finally tonight, international news. A large blast in the Lebanese capital of Beirut has killed at least 50 people and injured more than 2,700. That's according to the country's health minister. It is not yet clear what caused the explosion. Videos show smoke billowing from a fire before the blast, which was followed by a mushroom cloud. Hospitals are said to be overwhelmed and many buildings have been destroyed. Lebanon's internal security chief said the blast happened in an area housing highly explosive materials. A BBC journalist at the scene reported dead bodies and severe damage, enough to put the port of Beirut out of action. The incident comes at a sensitive time for Lebanon, with an economic crisis reigniting old divisions. Tensions are also high ahead of this Friday's verdict in a trial over the killing of the country's ex-Prime Minister Rafik Hariri back in 2005. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.